Okay, so we are going to wait for people to come on board. Let me take my volume down. We are going to wait. Okay, she's calling me. I'm like,
Casey?
yes, I just texted her. Good morning, travel partners. Good morning, good morning. Let me tell Casey we are on. Oh, he's coming. Okay. Oh, that's you. Oh, sorry. Good morning, travel partners. Let me send Casey the link. Good morning. Tell us where you are watching from. Give me 1 second. Good morning, good morning, good morning, travel partners. I'm sorry. Let us know where you are watching us from. So we have Atlanta. Hi, Diana. I'm going to be seeing you this weekend, hopefully. So I'm so excited this morning. We have Mr. Richard Hekker. Where are you, Richard?
I'm in Malta,
In
south of
Malta.
Europe.
How nice. He's in Malta. So we have so far travel agents from Atlanta, Texas, Savannah, Georgia, New York City, Illinois, Cleveland, Ohio. Get on. Ross has been so excited about this presentation. So I am so much excited as well. I'm so very excited. Hi, Orlando. Orlando is in St. Lucia. St. Lucia's most prestigious chef is watching us from St. Lucia. So we are so happy this morning that we have Mr. Richard Hekker of Opes Jet, which is a private jet company that is so excited to be working with travel agents. And I know all of you have always been asking about private jet service. So Richard is the CEO. So you're talking to the person that makes the decision. So I'm so excited he's here with us this morning, and he will be sharing, telling us how you can work with him for your groups and also your clients. So we have again agents from South Carolina, St. Lucia, Maryland. So we have a really nice mixture of agents from all over the US with us here this morning. More New Yorkers are coming on board. More New Yorkers are coming on board. And Richard is in Malta. I am all the way in Atlanta, Georgia. So Richard, let us know, talk to us, let us know what's going on with Opus Jet and how we could work with you.
Very excited to
Good
be here.
morning,
First of all,
Norman.
Kelly, thanks very much for having me here. And it's amazing to see so many people, waking up and joining us today. Everybody's had his coffee, I hope. I'm guessing it's sort of what, like 11 o'clock on the East Coast, probably a bit even earlier, going further west. So right now it's 5 o'clock here in Malta. So I will show everybody that I have it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but I will start with some water just to keep the discussion a bit more level. One of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about is, we've started a company called Opes Jet just about 2.5 years ago. I've been in business aviation, private aviation for over 20 years. Started as a private jet pilot, flew most of my private hours here in Europe. Um, but all that considered, I've done everything from sales to operations to I was CEO of an airline. I've been around the world in different sort of areas of the world doing this job, and I've noticed that there's one big issue in this industry, and that is transparency. As travel agents, you probably have realized that it's extremely difficult to find the right aircraft operator at the right time. The only way to do that now is by using a broker, or even perhaps sort of having connections in the industry, someone you've known for a long time, someone you know and trust. So what we've done is we've created something that in simplified terms can be compared to Airbnb for private aviation. And that is what the Opes Jet platform is pretty much all about. So there's two. In fact, I have created just a quick presentation here for everybody to go through. I hope this will work. We didn't have a chance to really test anything here, but I'm gonna do this live with you guys. So I hope this is gonna work. Let's try this now. So pretty much. Okay, well, people are sort of commenting. Great. I'm gonna try and ignore the comments a bit while I do my text. But so what we're trying to do is something completely different, completely new way of working, a totally autonomous way to book a flight for a user directly from an operator. And that's never been really done before. So looking at what the current market looks like, and these numbers are already outdated. This was just sort of the first beginning of COVID. These numbers sort of went to a total addressable market here, 300,000 people worldwide that fly private regularly. Um, and if we look at sort of the increase from 2019, sort of pre-COVID, to the post-COVID sort of first year of COVID, we've seen an increase of 50%. Now that increase has continued through 2021, and we see a very similar rise in the first half of 2022 already. So imagine that there was also a study done in the US just a few years ago, also sort of early 2019, that showed that there's 1 million families in the United States alone that can afford to fly private regularly. 1 million families. So we're talking about a global market in that same year of only 200,000 people that fly private regularly. So there's a huge untapped market that no one has really even looked into, that no one has even been able to address. And Opes Jet is one of those means that will allow us to address that total market worldwide. So what we're doing is something very different. As we see here, completely customer centric, very simple design, intuitive, and a complete price transparency. This is the three reasons why Opes Jet will be successful. Now, looking at sort of the next slide, the industry shortcomings. I've kind of touched on these things already, but the market in general is very obscure. It's created and kept by brokers. They want to make sure it's obscure because the less the client knows, the more they can charge. So I've noticed that the industry standard broker fee in Europe is about 15%. In the United States, we've seen sort of even 25, 30% on average on an average charter broker. So if we look at what else we can do to sort of change the industry, of course, the technology itself, the transparency, and also operators. We want the operators to get the best value for their money. The process itself, through our app, will become way more efficient. And if we simplify everything, then everyone will be able to make the most out of it. The trust is something you're going to have to build, but I think that's also where you guys come in. You guys have that trust and that relationship with your clients, and what we'll be able to do for you is make sure you get the best deal for your clients. Here's the thing. We've created not just one, but two apps. We've created one app for the client, which is an iPhone app that works on iOS devices, phone or iPad, and they can basically use that to source the aircraft. In other words, they can search for an aircraft, put in their details. I want to go from to X amount of passengers. And by the way, I'm going to go way more into detail about how the app works. So I'm just going to touch on it really quickly. And we've got also a separate app created for the operators. Now, the operator app is equally interesting, but just sort of web-based. Most operators will use a browser to interact with every other system that they use, including their own operational systems. So we've created a web-based platform for operators, which is completely free for them to use. We don't want multiple cost cost centers, which in the end of the day are all going to be paid for by the client anyway. So we decided, let's make a single a single cost for the client, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. So from the web app, the operator is able to watch every single or monitor every single request that comes into the platform. The next thing is they can make their own offers. They can communicate with clients, and they can of course set up their own offers. They can see what other operators are offering, so that they can adjust their own offers to be more competitive. That's another thing. So just to walk you guys through how a typical booking would look like on our app, I've prepared a few screens just to show you how simple it is. And of course, at the end of this, I'm going to go to the monetizing part. How do you guys make money by using our system? And we'll get to that at the end. But I'm going to show you first how simple it will be for your clients to book their own private jet flights anywhere in the world using our app. So the first screen on the left, it shows the very first starting screen. It's just a map of the world. It usually focuses on where you are in the world, and you can create your first flight. The first thing you'll do is, of course, select your destination. We know more or less where you are. If you've shared your location with us, we'll know where you are, and we'll ask you to tell us where you want to go. You can either select a particular airport if you know which airport you want to go to, or you can select a city. Either would work. The third screen will show you sort of the typical setup for your flight. Who's coming with you? It could be passengers. It could be your pet. And we ask you for a little bit of information. What kind of a pet is it? Do you have documentation for that pet? Some countries require it. Or if you have special cargo, and this doesn't really mean like, yeah, I've got a nice suitcase with me, but it's more of along the lines of I got a Picasso, or I'm transporting a Richard Mille watch, or I have some hunting equipment, potentially weapons with ammunition, information that the operator would require to have. On the next screen, you'll basically put your flight together, meaning you've just going to review that your flight is indeed as you have is exactly the way you wanted to do it. So this in fact is an example. This is from Luton in London to Charles de Gaulle, so Paris, with 3 passengers. The flight would take place on the 23rd of April on the outbound, and the return flight would be 2 days later on the 25th. So next thing what the client would have to do now is set their budget. Most people won't have any idea what kind of a budget they should set. So what we'll do is we'll guide them. And that's what this next screen is about. So first we give them a bit of information on how to use this screen. So the budget which the user will set, we give them a range, which is shown here at the bottom. The next slide is a bit clearer here. The range is from the lower end of the light jet sector to the upper end of the heavy jet section. And of course, the opening bid you set isn't actually the price you'll be paying. So even if you set this price here, 15,000, this is not necessarily the price you will pay. This is just to give an indication to the operator or operators which sort of price you have in mind. And that price could tell the operator a bit more about the service levels you're looking for, the size of the aircraft, etc. So in this case, 15,000 represents sort of a super mid-sized jet. So it's already towards the higher end of the aircraft opportunities. So in fact, the operator knows that I'm not going to offer you a very small aircraft in this case. So the next step for the client, again, he's walked through his mission parameters, his budget expectation. He set his budget expectations. And the next step is just to review everything to make sure that this is in fact what the client wants to do. So he'll confirm and submit. The moment he clicks on that, this request will go to the operators. Now we have access currently to roughly 3,800 private jets worldwide, which is quite significant. We're still growing quite a lot in the US because we only opened our US offices down in Boca Raton last month. So it's been about 6 weeks since we've started to add US operators, but there's about 2,000 operators to add, and we're just over 300 operators onboarded at the moment. So the next step that we're doing is going to significantly increase that, which will also significantly increase the number of aircraft that you guys could search and source for your clients. So the next thing you'll have here is once you've confirmed and this flight and this request has been sent to the operators that are most conveniently located for this request, is that you'll see on your main screen, you'll see the route. So just to confirm that you have in fact set the route up correctly, and it will show you this status here, awaiting offers. Now, generally speaking, and I think the next slide will explain that, generally speaking, here you go. It will take up to 6 hours for most of the operators to respond. That's kind of depending on, of course, the time of day, the day that it is itself. It could be Christmas or New Year. Then these are special days, obviously, which could require a bit more time for the operators to respond. Generally speaking, the yeah, the operators will respond in some cases within 15 minutes, and in some cases sort of up to 6 hours. But within 6 hours, you'll be able to have some idea of where you're headed with this offer. So the next thing is you're going to see this option change. Once you receive the first offers, it shows you view offers. Clicking on this now will open the next screen, which is an overview of your current offers. In this case, it shows here the price. So your request was about 15,000, and that you're getting a heavy jet here. So it's already an upgrade at a reduced rate of 12,700 pounds. So just to understand a bit more, you've got, in this case, three offers, 1, 2, 3. You've got a Beech 400 and another Premier 1, three types of aircraft. If you're not familiar with the aircraft type, that's totally fine, because the app allows you to review the aircraft information, which we're going to get to in the next slides. So just to get a quick overview of what these are, you see the flight time mentioned here. So it's about 32 minutes of flight time and 35 minutes on the larger jet. And the prices are mentioned as there. So on the very next screen, you're going to see multiple options. Right now on this particular offer for this Challenger 850, I could chat with the operator. I could review a bit more information about the flight itself. Now, this particular aircraft requires owner approval. And by clicking this button, I would actually continue to the booking process. So extremely simple. Now, once again, there's multiple information. For example, is the flight attendant included? Are pets allowed? Do I get Wi-Fi on board? And other information, as there's a huge list of potential information here. Manufacturing year you can see here, and the speed. Now, this is an example, so most of these figures don't necessarily make sense. But in all cases, the operator will have set this, so this information will be completely accurate. The next thing is, if you want to just review the picture, you can click on the picture itself, and as you can see here, it would open it full screen. We have the capability also of using 360-degree pictures, and we're developing the option to even have sort of virtual reality, so you can have a virtual walkthrough of your private jet before booking it. That's all in the makes. Now, a bit more about the owner's approval. Any sort of specifics about the aircraft itself or the operator itself would be mentioned in this particular offer, and all should be reviewed by the client before he decides to book or not. So on the next screen, this is an example of what happens when you ask questions to the operator. Like in this offer that you've sent me, is the VIP terminal included? So you start the chat, you wait for the operator to respond, and at the same time, you can click away, you can close your app, go back around spend your day the way you normally do, and once there's a response, you'll get a push notification, and when you open the app again, it will instantaneously show you, for example, here, there's a new message waiting for you. So at the same time, this has changed to a decision is required. This is sort of a call to action that we've built into the app, where the client now understands that the operators have done everything they can. Every operator has looked at your request, And if they have been able to make an offer, they have. If they haven't, they've declined. So there's no further actions that could happen in the near future, and therefore your decision is now required as a client. So there's a chat open. Again, opening the offer will open this screen, which again shows you here that there's a pending chat, and even here decision or actions are required. Everything is very clear and very obvious for the client. So he opens a chat and he sees, yes, indeed, the price includes a VIP terminal, it includes beverages and bar on board. So is this a final price? Is there any room for further negotiation? This is again an example. So of course the operator says, yeah, we can give you a further discount down to 12,400. So the client then decides to confirm this flight. So quick recap of what he's booking, which is a Bombardier Challenger 850 at 12,700. In fact, this should go down, of course, to the price agreed to 12,400. But again, this is an example. We can then instantaneously calculate what Opes Jet would charge the client in this case for this booking, and that would be a 4.2% fee equaling 533.4 pounds. So once the client now confirms this and pays our fee, the sourcing part for Opes Jet is done. So the very basic part of finding an aircraft and offering the best aircraft for this trip to the client, that part is done. So the next stage is that the client will now continue the booking directly with the operator. So the operator in the next stages will send their charter agreement. Once the charter agreement is signed, we'll send the invoice, and the invoice again is paid directly to the operator, which is a benefit because if you would work through a broker, you'd be, first of all, signing the agreement of the broker, which puts the pressure on the broker. If anything goes wrong, you're dealing with the broker, and the broker, in fact, is dealing with the operator. But in this case, you have all the rights needed to talk directly to the operator and say, find me another aircraft, or sort this mess out for me. So even the payment, as it's not going to Opes Jet, we are in no way liable for any issues that could arise. Of course, as a service provider, we are monitoring the process from A to Z, and if anyone, either the client or the operator, has any problems or questions, they can always address us, and we'll be more than happy to help, even provide some kind of an intermediary service. So just going back to this screen here, the client would then confirm the booking, but in this case, on the example here, we're skipping this. We're not confirming the booking as yet. We're going back to the home screen, and it will show that this flight is now pending the payment of a service fee. And on the next step, even on the offer itself, everything has changed to pay the service fee or pay the service fee. So this is now pending. Going to the next step, there's two ways to pay Opes Jet's fees. Option A is a credit card, very simple. Any credit card you've added or are adding in the second or third screen, or you can use other services like Apple Pay, Google Pay, even bank transfer if you prefer. But just for argument's sake here, we're going to continue by adding a new card. This is an example card. It changes here. The check mark shows the screen, and on the very end, we've paid now this 533 pounds with the credit card, and it gives you a quick thank you screen, and an email is sent to you or to the client with the invoice. So thanks for paying the service fee. Next step, obviously, everything has changed. Now we're double checking if the aircraft that has been booked and paid for is still available. If that's not the case, we'll find an alternative, but in most cases, this aircraft will be available because this discussion has already been ongoing. So it says rechecking aircraft availability. This gives the operator now the time to prepare the charter contract and send it to the client through the app. So what you'll see is here, for example, the client could leave the app. He could do whatever he needs, and maybe an hour or so later, the operator sends in the charter contract, and the status here changes to signed charter contract. The next thing is this is also fully integrated into our app. So a full document management system has been included. So if you go back to your original flight, so clicking on this particular flight would open this screen, which then shows you a charter contract has been added and it needs to be signed. So I've actually skipped this step now because I've got these screens a bit more in detail at the end, just to really show you what this process looks like. But let's assume that the client will sign this flight, the contract through the app, and I'll get to that later on. But then the next stage is obviously the aircraft is being prepared. So the next stage here is that there's one missing. The invoice will be paid, and the client confirms that he's paid the invoice. And the next step you'll see is that the aircraft will be in flight. Basically, what we're building in the meantime is this screen. We're going to be including additional services, something like flight tracking. The client, while in flight, could view the catering menu, the catering that they've agreed to, or that the catering that the operator has provided. So digital menus, even booking transfers, like an S-Class Mercedes could be waiting for you at the handling agent. These are all services that, of course, you guys are much more familiar with than I am. So these are all these services that could be booked directly through your services by linking your backend to ours. Even contacting support if there's anything on the plane that you don't like, or if there's any questions arising from the flight itself, we would be available to assist, or you could speak directly to the operator's support through the app. Any additional services, if you need a helicopter, restaurant reservations, etc., all the concierge services that you guys can much better provide than I can. Now on the third screen, the aircraft will have landed. And of course, after the landing, we will be asking, review your flight, rate your operator. Is this a premium operator? How was the flight? Is there anything you'd like to share with other travelers, etc.? Maybe even recommend the operator or the app to other potential clients. Or perhaps you've booked a single flight or one way and you want to book your return flight because you were extremely happy with this. So all these sort of things will be pretty obvious to create in the future. In the next few months, you'll see that happening as well. Things like booking hotels, restaurants, and other services is a very obvious next step for Opes Jet. Now, this is again sort of the document management system. So when the operator sends the contract, the client through the app itself, this is again just an example, so don't look at the details, but he can say, look, I need to sign it. He can select one of his pre-set signatures and add it to the signature line of the contract, confirm that he's done it, and upload the file, which would then, oops, I think I skipped one too many, upload the file, which would then complete that, saying that I've signed it. The operator will now be reviewing the documents. And once done, they will send the invoice. Once the client says, okay, I've paid, again, directly to the operator, so he could do that by bank transfer, credit card, however he wants to pay, crypto. He will say, I've paid, by clicking the button, I've paid. And once the operator confirms that the money has in fact reached their account, they will say the flight is ready and fully prepared. So then the next stage, of course, we need additional documents. We need the client will need to provide a passport and whatever else that they might potentially need. I think COVID documents is sort of a dying breed right now worldwide, luckily, but in some cases, in some places of the world, we still need them. So once a preparation is fully complete, the app itself would sort of go to a monitoring the aircraft sort of flight. So we'll be able to track the aircraft that the client has booked in real time once the positioning flight has been started towards the airport of departure, so that the client can see exactly when his aircraft is arriving, so he can time his own arrival to the airport and make sure that there's no delays. Now, before I move on, this is sort of the next stage, and this is probably way more interesting for you guys, as you're all travel professionals. This is something we're developing as of right now. In fact, what you're looking at is currently already live. This is a super broker platform that we've created on our end. This is a very brief look because it's not animated, but using this screen, you'll be able to manage every process of the sale, manage your clients, manage your clients' expectations, even search for aircraft directly yourself. So what you can do is you'll see multiple tabs. The next screen will show that even better, sort of where we're headed. But getting client information, intercom is our sort of internal communication tool. So by clicking this, you'll be able to communicate directly with the client. There's ways to communicate directly with the operator, etc., etc. So making offers directly to the client from this screen is going to be an extremely simple and easy way for you guys to manage any requests that come in from your network. So the difference is that at the moment we are sort of stuck with the Opes Jet fee of 4%. Now, with professionals like yourselves, we'd be splitting that fee. So if you bring clients to us, we would split our commission 50-50 with each of you. So every client that books obviously would pay 4% and half of that would go to you. In the future, you'd be able to set your own commission levels uh, as agreed upon with your client, or even sort of set you receive the offers from the operators and forward them on your own behalf. In fact, you could do that now. If you would set up as a client, you'd receive the contracts and the offers from the operators, and you'd be able to forward those directly to the client with whatever markup that you feel is acceptable. Now, again, this tool will help you to manage this much better, and this is still in progress. Now, this version is usable. The next version shows a bit more of where we're headed. So this one here is the new request. So we currently have 29 new requests coming in today, and about 110 current requests that are already being dealt with, meaning operators have looked at those and made offers. You'll be able to delegate certain flights to employees of yours. So you could say, well, we've got 10, 15, 20 employees, and each of them will deal with certain clients. So you can delegate particular flights based on who makes that request. And you can track them by just using one of these very simple tabs to keep track of yours. Now, where are you in the sales pipeline, or where is this particular request in the sales pipeline? It's very easily trackable by clicking on the follow-up required. In progress is in fact booking. So you'll be able to track, even monitor your bookings on a full monthly calendar, so you know which flights are coming up and what needs to be done. Even visually, we would probably use color coding, to show that a flight is fully prepared, meaning everything's fine, green, and if any actions are required, it would be either yellow or red, depending on the severity of that action. Um, but that being said, I think we're at the end now. So I'm going to have a quick look at if there's any questions now. I see there's one question. Will Opes Jet be open to partnering? Oh, here we go. Thank you. With inbound operators in the islands, and how different is the service from that of other providers? So, in fact, that's a cool thing. We're completely open to partnering with any operator. So on the operator side, we would allow any operator to sign up today for free and use our platform for free, so they could monitor and view any requests that come in from clients. And if there's a service provider, sort of a concierge or a broker or someone that would like to work with us as well, that would like to bring their clients to use our platform, that's where I mentioned right now, we would say, yes, we would probably split the commission. Alternatively, what we can do is we can wait for this new broker app to be ready, and if that's ready, then you can set whatever commission levels you'd like for your clients. Trinidad and Tobago, yes, we're worldwide, so you're more than welcome to. Please go ahead.
This was quite interesting. Thank you so much, Richard.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure.
Do we have any other questions? We had more agents coming in from Canada, as you saw, Trinidad and Tobago, Canada, somebody in Costa Rica. So we have advisors from all over the US and Canada as well. And
One thing I should probably mention as we're waiting for everybody to And my pleasure, by the way. Thank you so much for having me here. One thing I should mention while we're waiting for more questions to come in is that what we generally do for ambassadors or partners of ours is we would allow you guys to would give you each your own QR code. So you'd have a QR code that can be trackable to you. So you give that to your clients or even advertise that on your websites or elsewhere. They will scan that and they would be able to to go straight into our app. And we'll be able to track who comes via which QR code. Uh, it's a quick and easy way, of course, to see who to make sure that we incentivize the right people. The easiest way, of course, always to make sure if you are bringing in clients to us, please, just provide a name and an email address for that client so that we can monitor our waiting list. Because actually, I just totally forgot that I forgot to mention the fact that our app is a by invitation only app. So if you are applying out without an invitation code, you enter our waiting list. So your clients would enter our waiting list, but if you've provided the name and email address of that client, we would first of all be able to allocate that client to you, and we'd be able to expedite them through the waiting list so that they can access our app very quickly. Is the app available? It's only available on iPhone for the moment, Janet. It is. But we are developing a web app version that would be able to be used on both a PC or, of course, any Android device. So that's in the works, and it should be ready sort of by the end of May, I expect. The app itself is an iOS app, but it runs on the iPad or also on the Mac, the new Macs with the M2 chip, so the brand new. I think it's the MacBook Pros that run it as well. Yeah, the QR code option, of course. I mean, I think my email address was mentioned on the last slide. I don't know if this presentation is downloadable, but I'll be happy to provide everybody with my email address if you. There it is. So rhekker@opesjet.com. That's me, or you can visit us through opesjet.com. But yeah, me too. I'm actually, funny enough, I'm an Android user myself, so I have to wait for my own app. So that's why I bought the iPhone, just to use my own app. But in any case, we're working on creating an Android/web app version, which will allow professionals like yourselves as well to use us. QR codes, easiest way to do. We can create QR codes for particular projects or particular ambassadors. Happy to do that. So please contact me through email and I'll set those up for you.
So thank you so much. And do we have any other questions for Richard while we're here? I think this sounds like a really interesting way, especially for our agents who put groups together. I think you can easily get a group on a private jet. With some of the cost I see, definitely it's something that's doable.
Does anybody know what the average cost is of a private jet, or should I maybe elaborate on that a little bit? I'm not sure how aware everybody is. Typical client, it's very hard to say because we've had people in their 70s using our app, which was challenging, let's say it like that. They have a very different, obviously, mindset, and using an app was difficult. So we'd really have to, almost sort of, I'll get to the question about the cost as well. Basically, we've seen anybody from sort of their mid-20s to mid-70s. So it's a really broad range of people. The cost no, you pay per jet, and it depends on the size of the aircraft. The rule of thumb that I usually use, and that's a European rule of thumb, but it's roughly for the light jet, you're paying around 4,000 euros per hour, which is all in. So 1 hour flight is around 4,000 euros. If you do on a slightly larger aircraft, you're looking at sort of 4 to 5,000, 5,500. So the light jet will seat sort of around 4 passengers. The the super light jet will or mid-size will seat about 6 people. 6 to 7 people, and this will be about 5 to 6,000 an hour. Excuse me. And the next level of aircraft is sort of the super mid-sized aircraft. Will seat about 10 people, and the hourly rate will be somewhere around sort of 6,500 to 8,500 an hour. And you've got the heavy jets like the Gulfstream 550s and the Global Express aircraft, so the really heavy, large jets can seat 10 passengers, sort of up to 18 groups, and this aircraft will go somewhere between 10 and 15,000 per hour. So the range, of course, matters as well. If you're doing a quick 1 hour flight, you're looking at sort of around 4 to 5,000 euros. If you've got a 2 to 3 hour flight, the price per hour sort of goes down a bit because the fuel burn reduces after the first hour. Um, and let me get to the question in a sec. So basically, the average prices go down. Plus, on our app, one of the benefits you'll have is that the offers come directly from the operators, and the operators, when they make the offer to you, they can see what other operators have bid for their flight. So if they see, for example, I'm offering you a particular aircraft for $10,000, I see this offer on the app. The next operator that comes in will say, I'm going to try my best to beat that offer. So you're going to see, offers improving as time goes by until you get this call to action from us. We say, look, everybody's done what they can. This is it. Make your choice. And again, you can decide if you want to pay a little bit more for service, so you have a larger aircraft, or if you say, no, I would like to, get the lowest possible price because this is just me on the plane and I want to go from A to B as comfortably as possible. So let me see if there's any questions I've overlooked. So perfect for luxury travel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. The cost of private jet charters, I think I've touched that. If I'm missing anything, please let me know. The cost I've touched on. Let me see here. Could you please describe again how we can determine what kind of price range? Okay, so that's funny because in our budget screen, so once the client has set up his parameters of his mission, so I want to go from A to B. I've got an X amount of passengers with me. Our app would almost immediately determine the price range. So once you step to the next, when you go to the next step in our app, it opens a budget screen, which gives you a range from the lower end of the light jet to the higher end of the heavy jet. So if you position, and we give you certain price, how do you call these? Increments or price detents, I should say, where you should set your budget expectation to get a particular type of aircraft. So we've seen right now it's a buyer's market, so we've adjusted our suggestions a bit to the market. But generally speaking, our prices are extremely well on point. Okay, yeah, no worries. Let me see here. What airports are you located in? Now, we're not personally located at any airports, but we have access to operators located all over the world. So the thing is that we have our company in the US, which deals with our US operations, and we have our European, funny enough, our European companies in London, which is no longer part of the EU, but it serves the EU airports, EU operators and clients. Now, let me think. There's a question here. How far in advance can a reservation be? Pretty much as far as you want. But one thing I should probably mention, as this is a very good question, there's a massive difference between commercial aviation and private aviation when it comes to booking times. Because if you book a commercial jet with any commercial operator, you want to book it as far in advance as you can, just to make sure you get the best price, because the prices are, they increase towards the or sometimes increase towards the date of flight. On a private jet, however, it's the opposite. And I'll explain why that is, because the aircraft operator doesn't know its schedule until sort of a few days before the flight in fact takes place. Because people are changing their minds. They're getting new flight requests in. So the aircraft might be in New York. It might be in Washington. I don't know. So I'm pricing it often. If it's too far in advance, I, as an operator, would price my flight to you from home base. Whereas if you ask me a few days in advance or a week in advance, I could price it from the actual location that the aircraft is on, do your trip, and then continue onwards with my next destination. So the price could be much, much better. Another good question: how are payments made? Generally speaking, the full price of the flight needs to have been paid before departure. That's how it works. A certain portion, some operators may require a certain portion of the flight, sort of 10% or so, to be booked or to be paid for at the time of booking, but no one pays the full amount upfront. Certainly not if you've confirmed the flight a few weeks or months even in advance. That being said, once again, there's if it's a really sort of short-term booking, what normally happens, if you say, look, I want to fly this afternoon or I want to fly tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., there's not enough time for the bank to credit the amount. So what we'll do is what an operator will do in this case is they will block your credit card for the full amount plus any potential credit card fees. They'll hold that blockage until the bank transfer has cleared in their account. Once the bank transfer clears, they release the credit card hold, and that's one way. Some clients even say, "Look, I don't care about the extra 2, 3, 4% of the credit card company. Just pay with the credit card, and I want to get it done." So there's many ways to pay. Even our fees you can pay with any means you want. So we're building methods to accept crypto payments as well. It's not currently possible yet, but we are working on it. But you can pay with Apple Pay, Google Pay, bank transfer, credit card, any other means. Any other questions? Let me grab a sip of water.
I think I think you covered all of the questions, but that was very, very informative. I learned so much. I was always, when I heard about private jet, I always thought that you have to be a millionaire to be able to contract a private jet, but it's much easier than that. Okay, there's one more question.
That's a good question as well. Look, can multiple payments? Absolutely. I mean, yeah. The thing is, once you book a plane, and I don't know if I covered that before. I think I've seen that question before, but you're paying for the aircraft. Now, the aircraft has an X amount of seats, so you can fill the seats up to your discretion. There may be an additional passenger fee in some cases, but that's yes, I can answer that question right away. Yes, you can pay with multiple cards. I've had that done. I've had that. Even one client had 4 or 5 cards, and he paid with 5 cards one flight. It happens. I've had passengers paying cash. So most operators are quite flexible as long as they get paid and it's all above board and legal. Everything's fine. So I have not worked with Cruise Planners franchise. I'd love to start that. Why not? So once again, coming back to you pay for the aircraft, so the charterer, the lead passenger, or the organization charters an aircraft. It doesn't matter if you put in 1 person or 7 or 8 or 10 persons, if that's possible. So what you'll see is a lot of corporations, once they start realizing the opportunity you have by flying from A to B direct, with the luggage you need to bring. If you have a quick presentation to do somewhere that doesn't have a major airport, but just a small regional airport, and there aren't any airlines that fly from A to B direct. You'd have to go via some major hubs, spend hours in waiting at the airport. You might even have to fly the night before, overnight in a hotel. So if you're a group of 8 businessmen or women, and you're going from A to B for a quick meeting, you spend 3 days away from home, right? 2 nights in a hotel plus etc. But with a private jet, you fly out in the morning and fly back in the afternoon. You'll see that in most cases, it starts to become quite cost effective to use a private aircraft. And even time wise, you spend way less time away from the office. If you really want to, you could probably get internet on the plane. So you would be able to continue working or collaborating with the team while you're flying to your destination. So flying private has certain privileges. It's not all about luxury. It's often more about sort of privacy and flexibility, going from A to B at your time. If you arrive to the airport and you call American Airlines, guys, I'm going to be an hour late. Please hold the plane for me. They'll say, good luck. There's a plane tomorrow for you. But if you call your private jet pilot and say, I'm going to be an hour late because I want to have lunch first, they say, no problem. We'll see you in an hour. So again, that flexibility is what most people pay that extra few dollars for, and that's what you'll see with Opes Jet. Opes Jet just gives you access to the best deals anywhere in the world. So happy to work with you guys as well on this. Any other questions?
I think you left a lot of food for thought. So, so
That
take
was
a,
that was the intention.
so you guys should take a screenshot of Richard's information, so you can always follow up with him and ask any more questions that you have.
Please. So we're on the iOS App Store if you want to use. Again, we are by invitation only. But if you send me a quick email saying that you want to sign up, you want to use our app to book flights for your clients and for yourself, please do let me know, and I'll make sure to fast track you through our waiting list.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, and thank you to all of our travel advisors who listen on. If you're watching on the replay, again, this is Opes Jet, Richard Hekker with Opes Jet, and he's telling you how easy it is to provide private jet service to your clients, especially your groups. And we have all of those events coming up in the Caribbean that it will be fantastic to have the groups going down for the carnival, for the food festivals, the music festivals on their own private jet, and you don't have to worry about canceled flights. So this has been so informative. So thank you so much, Richard.
My
And
pleasure.
and
Thanks again for having us. I also want to thank Casey Davey for setting this up. I know he's a friend, so and he's one of you guys. Let's say it like that. So really appreciate the opportunity to explain a bit more about what we do and how we can help you. So thank you very much.
that was very informative. I learned so much from it. So I know most of our agents, and we had agents from all over who was here as well. So yeah, thank you. This was awesome. So they got some great info, and they can always watch on the replay. It will be in the group. It will live in the group for a long time. Plus, it's on our YouTube channel, so you can always go back and look at it. And again, take Richard's information so you could if you want to utilize the service, so you will not be on the waiting list. And I know most of you do lots of groups, and I know you hate the schedule cancellation. So this is a way to start providing added value to your clients. And even if you are not doing it now, let them know that you can provide that service for them. You can get them a private jet to wherever they want to go, especially your wedding groups, your family reunions and all that good stuff. So make sure you take Richard's information to start working with him, and provide your service with an added value to private jet service. So thank you so much. And now I know it's about what 5:30 in your neck of the wood, Richard. So now you could go enjoy your wine.
It's almost six, and just one more takeaway for everybody here. If you wouldn't mind, following us on either Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, we're there as well. So have a look. We try to put up some nice Caribbean pictures so everybody could feel at home, and happy to see most of you guys by email or anywhere else in the world on the next travel to the US. It will be a pleasure.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
My pleasure,
So
and
we
thanks for
have
having me.
You're welcome. Thank you. Oh, I know we kept you on for almost an hour. Okay, that must have been really good. We're here for almost an hour. It's normally like half an hour. So
I'm
you'll get
sorry
some
about that.
emails. You'll
Once
get
I
some
get
emails.
once I get going, I can't stop talking. So I
No,
need to
no, no.
probably
That
just
was fine. That was very informative. I think everybody enjoyed it, and people were coming on board. So that was really good. So we really enjoyed that. So thank you so much. And if we have any questions, Richard's email is on the screen. Please take his email, and he has WhatsApp as well. You know, we love WhatsApp in the Caribbean. So he has WhatsApp as well. So you could add his number to your contact, his WhatsApp number to your contact, and also his email address. Again, thank you. Have a wonderful Thursday, great weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Same to
Thanks
you all.
again, Richard. That
Thank
was
you very
great. Thank
much.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. That was fantastic.
My pleasure.
We normally
Really
here
enjoyed
for
it.
half an hour, but they stayed, and we got so many hearts and likes on the on from Facebook. So that was really, really good. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. We'll catch up very soon. Thanks for
Okay,
having me.
you're welcome. Can come back anytime you want to come back again. Please do that.
I'll probably come back once our B2B platform is fully operational, and I'll explain a bit more on that. I'll give a good presentation about the B2B uh, platform. I gave you a small preview at the end of my presentation, but
Mhm.
I will come back and do another one for you guys. So
Okay.
hope to see everybody again very soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.